Hello, everybody. My name is Jonah Crowley. And before we begin, I'd just like to emphasize that I am not a healthcare professional. I'm just a guy that likes to learn new things and hopefully implement new things into my own life to better my life as a whole. And, along the way, I hope to better all of your guys' lives as well. So without further ado, let's get into today's topic, which is all about sauna therapy. So for starters, just like exercise or a cold shower or any other type of stressor in life, sauna therapy is indeed a stressor. In fact, it emits a mild form of hyperthermia, aka a rapid heating of the body. And it can actually be dangerous if not used properly. You should be using the sauna between around 160, 170 degrees Fahrenheit to around 212 or 220 degrees Fahrenheit. And you probably won't want to be inside of the sauna for, it depends on the temperature. Lower temperatures, you can be in there longer. But once you start approaching those higher temperature numbers, sticking in there for around 20 minutes is probably around the limitations of where you want to go. Now, while there are many different types of heat therapy, in fact, almost every culture has a different modality that they like to use. There's infrared saunas, there's steam saunas, there's wet saunas, there's the Finnish style sauna that we'll talk about, there's Wuhan therapy, there's many different forms. Even a hot tub can be considered a form of heat therapy. But what I'd like you to understand is that all of these therapies enact similar physiological adaptations of the body. So even if you don't have access to a Finnish style sauna, which is the conventional form of a sauna, and it's included in a lot of gyms, even if you don't have access to that, you could just take a hot bath or an equivalent like that, as long as the temperature is high enough. For a hot bath, you typically want around 104 degrees Fahrenheit. And something that I've done recently is I bought a little temperature reader, a little floaty device that you can put in your hot bath so that you can monitor how hot it is getting, so you can really make sure that you're getting these adaptations, these beneficial adaptations that you want. So even though they do all provide similar benefits, I am going to be focusing on the Finnish style sauna today. And the reason for that is that the research goes back thousands of years. In fact, they've been Finnish people in Finland have been using the sauna for thousands of years as a recovery and relaxation device. In fact, they were such big proponents of it that they actually brought portable saunas to the 1948 Olympics for their athletes so that they could use it post-sauna to enhance their recovery. I think that really speaks to the efficacy of the sauna and how important it can be for recovery and all these other benefits. Now, while some people may not care about what physiologically happens in the body, I do think that it is rather important to at least understand it on a surface level so that you know what you're in for and you know what's going on a biological level. So to start, the skin actually heats first to around 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, this is followed by a slow rise in core body temperature to around 102.2 degrees Fahrenheit. And all the while this is happening, your cardiac output of your heart increases around 60 to 70%. Now, this really mimics cardiovascular exercise and any exercise as a whole, because ultimately your heart rate is going to increase dramatically. Blood flow is circulating through your body at abnormal rates. You're sweating a ton, and your blood pressure is also raising. This is a true stressor, and the cardiovascular gain should not be understated. And something that I don't believe has been recognized enough is the sauna's ability to increase your adaptation to heat stress. When you're in the sauna and you're dealing with these extremely high temperatures, you're becoming more resilient to it after each and every exposure. Think about lifting weights. When you lift weights and you tear up your muscles, you don't just go back in there like immediately. You wait for it to recover, for your muscles to recover, because that is when they actually grow. The sauna is the same way. You end up adapting to it because your body wants to return to homeostasis. And when you adapt to it, you become a little bit better at dealing with these high temperature heat exposures over time. And I think that when you're on a vigorous, intense run or doing any physical activity, whether it be cycling or swimming or anything else, there is that rise in core body temperature, which when you're more heat acclimated, you are better equipped to deal with that stressor. So I think that the sauna can easily transcend into assisting with these other forms of vigorous, intense exercise. So if you are an athlete of any kind, I think that the sauna is a great supplement on top of your already probably vigorous workout routine, because it aids in recovery, and then it can also aid in this heat acclimation and help you perform better at your sport, at your athletic endeavors. Now, beyond the body heating up and all these other underlying pathways, the sauna also triggers, and I'm sure that you guys have heard a lot about this. It's kind of been a buzzword a lot lately. Heat shock proteins. Heat shock proteins are found in every single cell of the human body. And essentially what they do is they refold misfolded or damaged proteins and get them working properly again. So they're essentially aiding in cellular repair and improving the function of your body as a whole. Now, I think that this is really important because misfolded or damaged proteins is a true hallmark of the aging process. In fact, a lot of diseases, neurodegenerative diseases like dementia or Alzheimer's, one of the hallmarks of those diseases are issues with the folding of proteins and issues with cellular repair. So heat shock proteins can especially aid in that realm and potentially prevent a lot of neurodegenerative diseases like dementia and Alzheimer's. So if you are getting up there in years and you're getting kind of nervous about your health, or maybe you have a history of it in your family, or any concerns whatsoever, the sauna is probably a great place to go for another preventative measure to make sure that you don't suffer from any of these dire illnesses later down the road. Heat shock proteins also assist in moderating muscle atrophy. Muscle atrophy is essentially the degradation of muscle over time, likely due from inactivity. And therefore, if you are suffering from an injury where you can't use your muscles, or any other reason why you may be atrophying in those tissues, maybe you're even just taking some time off of the gym, then using the sauna frequently and triggering these heat shock proteins could be very beneficial in preventing the loss of that valuable muscle tissue, which you probably spent a long time to build. Now, along with the sauna mimicking cardiovascular exercise and all those heat shock protein benefits and all that, I just want to briefly touch on the statistics from many research articles regarding fatal bodily disorders and the statistics of preventing them due to sauna use. So, for example, using the sauna 4 to 7 times per week versus using it 1 time per week resulted in 63% lower cardiac death, 48% lower coronary heart disease, a 24% lower risk of hypertension, and a 50% lower risk of cardiovascular disease. We also see a 66% reduction in the risk of developing dementia or Alzheimer's disease, as well as a 78% reduction in the risk of developing psychosis later on in life. Now, all of these statistics are pretty spectacular, in my opinion. I'll do anything I can to prevent diseases like this. And if it means just using the sauna 15 to 20 minutes a few times to 6-7 days a week, so be it. Because honestly, I think that the sauna, while it provides all these marvelous benefits, it also just makes you feel good. I mean, it releases endorphins in your brain, which are similar to endorphins released post-exercise. You know, they say the runner's high for a reason. This is because the running releases these feel-good hormones, these endorphins, and so does the sauna. And I think that that's why it aids in sleep so much. In fact, it was seen that sauna use can increase deep sleep as much as 70%. And as we know, sleep is so beneficial for every area in life. If you get a bad night's sleep, it's not only lowering your overall lifespan and health span, but it's also impacting things like your fitness, your workouts, your mental clarity, your day-to-day, and your quality of life and your relationships and your memory. Every single factor of your life is dictated by sleep. I mean, it's a third of our lives, so you might as well get it right. So something that I've been doing is taking a hot bath before bed, or using the sauna semi-close to bed, because it really does help relax you and helps you drift off into sleep, a much deeper sleep. Now, along with these endorphins, sauna use has also been seen to offer a host of other hormonal benefits. For example, it increases leptin, which is a hormone involved in satiety and appetite. So basically, if you're trying to lose weight or gain weight or anything like that, your hormones can play a large role in how hungry you're feeling. And ultimately, what dictates weight gain or weight loss is how many calories you're consuming, how much you're eating throughout the day. So by using the sauna frequently, it'll help you with appetite control and help you achieve those weight gains or losses that you are after. Now, along with these important hormone increases, by far the most incredible increase in a hormone observed through the sauna is, in fact, human growth hormone. Now, human growth hormone is involved in many processes in the body, but most notably skin care, hair growth, skeletal muscle growth, and it's really important as we age. So I think that it's important to keep growth hormone as high as you possibly can. Now, looking at the data, they have found that, and this is more on the extreme side, but using the sauna twice a day for an hour at around 176 degrees Fahrenheit over the course of 7 days, by the third day, they found a 16-fold increase of human growth hormone above baseline. Now, that is insane. That is a very high increase. And it was shown for multiple hours post-sauna use to be elevated like that. Now, I don't expect anybody to actually go out there and use the sauna for 2 hours a day. I mean, you guys have lives, that's kind of ridiculous, even if it isn't on the highest temperature scale that the sauna can allow. But they have seen that as much as a couple 20 or 30-minute sessions at a little bit higher of a temperature gauge has been shown to increase human growth hormone as much as 5 times above baseline. So it really does seem to scale with how your duration and frequency and temperature of sauna use. It seems like, to a point, more is better. Beyond hormonal benefits, the sauna also seems to provide great immune system benefits. Now, this is likely due to the increase in white blood cells, neutrophils, lymphocytes, basophils. These are little cells which act as defense mechanisms to invaders of the body. So, and through many studies, it has been seen that using the sauna around 4 to 7 times per week versus 1 time per week saw decreases in the likelihood of developing pneumonia and other respiratory issues as much as 41%. And it has also been seen that individuals who use the sauna long term, so like 6 months plus, saw a reduction in the likelihood of contracting the common cold by half, 50%. Now that is huge. If you're somebody who often gets sick, or you can't get sick due to your job or something like that, I would strongly consider using the sauna frequently for a long period of time, because it can greatly aid in the power of your immune system and keeping your body healthy. Now, a little disclaimer: the sauna isn't going to make you less sick if you are already sick. In fact, it'll probably do the opposite. It'll probably exacerbate your symptoms severely. So be very careful if you are sick and you intend to continue using the sauna, because after all, as I spoke about earlier, the sauna is a stressor. It's still testing your body, and it's still having to overcome something. So adding the sauna stress on top of your body already fighting all of these illnesses and diseases and whatnot, that's going to be a recipe for disaster. It's only going to exacerbate your symptoms and make you sick for much longer than you probably need it to be. So if you are feeling sick, if you're feeling any symptoms, I'd recommend staying away from the sauna. But you should be using it, if I were you, as a preventative measure for contracting future diseases. Okay, so hopefully by now you guys have a good understanding of what the sauna does to the body and why it's so beneficial. Because in the end, I do think that a lot of people, they have the wrong idea about sauna. They don't understand how beneficial this can be and how relaxing and promoting it can be to almost every system in your whole entire body. However, you do need to understand the specific protocols and parameters that you need to follow in order to use the sauna safely and gain the most benefits out of the sauna that you possibly can. So it seems that for optimal results, you should be using the sauna around 4 to 7 times weekly. And this is going to be accompanied by a temperature of around 170, 180 to around 210, 220 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, keep in mind that when you're inside of this Finnish style sauna, the temperature readers are often way up top. And the top is often much hotter because, after all, heat rises up to the surface, to the top of whatever area that it's in. And therefore, that area is going to be the hottest. So your temperature reader where you're sitting is probably not what it shows on the gauge. And therefore, if it's saying like 200, maybe subtract around 10 degrees, maybe it's around 190. And also keep in mind, if you're on like the bottom sitting area of the sauna, that's going to be much cooler than the top area that you're sitting. Beyond this, it does appear that around 15 to 20 minutes per session of sauna use is the most optimal duration of time. Now, keep in mind that this probably varies with the total amount of temperature that you're in for in each session. So if it's hotter in that sauna, for example, if you throw some water onto the rocks, it's going to increase the humidity, and the perceived temperature of your body is going to rise as a consequence. So you may not be in there for as long. Me personally, I typically try to go for at least that 15 to 20 minute period. I rarely exceed 20 in one session. And then I try to do the sauna around at least 6 days a week if I can. And I do combine this with cardiovascular and strength workouts. I like to use the sauna as a recovery method post-exercise. And I do believe that to get the greatest benefits of both, you do want to be doing them one after another. And you'd probably want to be following the general guidelines of 150 to 300 minutes of moderate intensity exercise, or 75 to 100 minutes of vigorous intensity exercise. And there have been studies of individuals using the sauna post cardio, post muscle building, post strength workouts. And it has been found that following exercise, you get the greatest gains in everything. Okay, now that we've talked about the myriad of health benefits associated with the sauna, and I've likely convinced you that it's a good idea, let's talk about some do nots. So first of all, please, please, please do not use the sauna while you are intoxicated on alcohol. Alcohol is naturally, by nature, dehydrating your body to a very high extent. And coupling that with sauna, it can lead to very adverse effects like death. You can literally die from combining these two things. So please make sure that not only are you not intoxicated like that, but you are also well hydrated. Along with this, it has been seen that due to the high temperature nature of the sauna, it can impair fertility and sperm production. Now, the good news is that this is not a permanent reduction. In fact, you will restore fertile function and sperm production, but it does take roughly 6 months. So if you are trying to conceive or you are just nervous about this whole process, you better avoid the sauna, or at least wear an ice pack or something to cool down your genitals to avoid these adverse effects in sperm production and fertility. Now, if you are a child or you have a child that wants to use the sauna, please be careful. Children's sweat production is a little bit different from adults. So you just want to approach it with caution at the very least. Maybe start with a more mild version of the sauna. And also, if you are on any medications, you may want to speak to your physician before using the sauna, because you never know what could happen. Okay, so let's get into some hydration recommendations, because after all, the sauna does dehydrate you of a ton. So you do lose around 0.5 kilograms of fluid per sauna session. Now, this does vary depending on your body composition. So you could be losing more, you could be losing less. But I think that it's a common knowledge that you do become very dehydrated through prolonged sauna exposure. This is because you are sweating so very much. And therefore, you should not only be drinking water post sauna, but also before the sauna as well. Probably around 16 ounces pre, 16 ounces post. That's around a conventional glass of water. Along with this comes the depletion of electrolytes in your body. These electrolytes are sodium, potassium, magnesium, chloride, and calcium, and you lose a lot of all of them when exposed to the sauna for a long duration. And therefore, it is imperative that you replenish these valuable electrolytes post sauna to make sure that your body and your mental clarity is functioning to its fullest. Now, these can be replenished by electrolyte-rich foods, which is essentially like pretty much any healthy food. I mean, you can find potassium from bananas. You can find sodium from just regular salt, but also nuts and fish and meat and spinach. They all carry a lot of electrolytes as well. So if you like to do it through whole food sources, if you have that kind of budget, by all means, please do that. You can also buy some electrolyte tablets or powders or drinks if you'd prefer. Lastly, I'd just like to level with you guys. Look, I know that going to the gym can be kind of a scary experience for a lot of you. You know, you're going there to essentially cause a lot of stress on your body and exert a lot of physical output, and you're doing it in front of the world. You're doing it in front of a lot of people. And I know the sauna is no different. I mean, it's still a physical stress. A lot of the times people get completely naked, and you know, I mean, it can be kind of a scary thing, especially if you're doing it for the first time. But I hope that me saying this encourages you. The sauna should not be something scary. In fact, it should be a very welcoming experience. It's a form of relaxation. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, it goes back thousands of years in Finland as just a practice to feel good and to recover. So if you are pretty adverse to trying it, if you are a little nervous, there's no shame in taking baby steps. There's no shame in going in there fully clothed for just a couple minutes just to try it out. That's what I did. When I first started using the sauna, I was fully clothed and I would just go in there for 5 to 10 minutes. It was only like 160 degrees. But, over time, I eventually got more and more confidence to fully approach the sauna. And now I'm doing it 6, 7 times a week, 20 plus minutes a session, in pretty conventional like sauna gear or whatever. And if gyms are too expensive, if it's outside your budget, even a hot bath will work. That'll get you a lot of the similar results that a sauna will. So please, I mean, if you are adverse to trying the sauna, try baby steps. If you can't afford a gym, do a hot bath, whatever helps, because the benefits speak for themselves. The research speaks for itself. You don't want to be missing out on this. This is important for your recovery, for fighting all of these diseases, for everything. So in conclusion, the sauna offers a whole host of benefits, from mimicking cardiovascular exercise to increasing these cellular repair heat shock proteins, to fighting off dementia and Alzheimer's and psychosis, to boosting your immune system and preventing sicknesses, to increasing valuable hormones in your body, like a 16-fold increase in human growth hormone, increased testosterone levels, increased leptin levels. And I'm sure that there's a ton more things that haven't even been studied or seen or exposed that still are left out there on the table. So thank you guys for watching, for listening. It really means a lot. And I'll see you in the next one. And I hope that this has helped you hopefully better your life in the future, because I know that it will better mine.